covering all your favorite parts of the 50-yard fight. This is the Inside the Walls podcast with Zach Kyleman and Jim Mernier.
Welcoming in fans of the 50-yard fight. This is the Inside the Walls podcast. Zach Kyleman alongside my good buddy, good host, good pal, Jim Mernier, in once again for another show. Jim, as we are talking, as we are going to be doing this and dropping this show on our usual Thursday slate, we will be less than 10 days out from the National Arena League kickoff. Talk about it, man. It's almost time to get what we consider the best version of this sport back up and running April 23rd.
It's almost time for a certain owner of our league to stop taking cruises and actually pay attention to his team.
Oh my God. I'm going to be expecting a message as soon as this thing drops.
No, I'm totally jealous. Much respect to him. But still, dude takes a lot of cruises. And now the season's coming. It's like, I don't know. You got 14 weeks of football coming. So yeah, 10 days away. It just seems like just 2 days ago we were talking about, the schedule just came out. And it seems like last week we were like, well, the Empire just won a championship. But yeah, it's here. It's like 10 days. Blinken and I, next week's show, we'll be breaking down action week 1 of the National Arena League. But yeah, we got a lot more stuff ahead before next week's show. We have a potential huge guest next week, as well. And be prepared for next week's episode to be a lot longer than usual. And expect this week's episode to be a lot shorter than usual.
Yeah. I mean,
but
there's
it's
reasons.
2 weeks away, 10 weeks away, or 10 days away, excuse me. I want weeks and days.
Yeah, as we're talking right now, it's 10. And again, when we drop the show, it's going to be 9.
9.
Wow.
Oh, I forgot to also do this, ladies and gentlemen. Hello, YouTubers. How you doing? If you on podcasts are like, I can't. What's he doing? I'm waving at the camera.
Keep to show traditions. So
if you're watching this while driving,
off.
Why are you watching this while you're driving?
Yeah, just turn the podcast on. Come on.
Yeah.
Safe driving practices, people. Let's not cause an accident.
Oh, also, I do have some breaking news for everyone out there. This is not NAL related. This is not podcast related. Well, it is podcast related, but it's not NAL. It's not. It's more of a personal goal for me and Zach. We finally got Connecticut. Someone downloaded our show for Connecticut.
Yes. Thank you, Connecticut.
And I think it's because we were talking about David Findell last week or 2 weeks ago. So we finally got it. Thank you. So the whole East Coast is ours, except for West Virginia, and it's just odd that we don't have West Virginia. Mostly the first couple episodes were about West Virginia.
We've talked when we talk about the Rough Riders too. I'm actually kind of surprised no one's like Rough Riders. Like, wait a minute. So are all these people from Southern Ohio or Southwestern Pennsylvania?
Yeah. But yeah, 10 days away. Countdown is finally here. There's a lot of football around the nation that's happening right now in other leagues, especially the USFL. That's kicking off this weekend. And, of course, we had a great guest on tonight's show, Lonnie Outlaw, wide receiver for the Orlando Predators and former Columbus Lions. It's a lot of laughs. Guy was awesome to talk to. And we got a lot of news to break down after the interview, but we got a lot more stuff to tell you right now. And Zach will tell you what you guys need to look forward to here on Inside the Walls.
That's right. So a few things with the show. If you haven't been keeping up, we've added some things. First off, if you haven't followed us on social media, recommend you do at InWallsPod on your favorite platform, Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter. Obviously, InWallsPod on YouTube. If you're not watching us on YouTube, or if you're listening to the podcast right now, that is what I'm saying. Check out the YouTube version. Might get a little some surprises you can't check just listening to audio. And then, as Jim is referencing a little bit more on this, we are going to be represented at Springstock down for the inaugural weekend of the USFL in Birmingham, Alabama. That is a put together event by the USFL podcast, something that I am part of and that Jim and I are associated with in helping out. A full either tailgate or event. We're kind of in the middle on this, depending on the weather. Nonetheless, it's a full live stream with food and giveaway prizes that we will be associated with to get to talk on there for our segment, roughly a half hour, talking the National Arena League. So we'll have that represented. And hopefully we'll get to talk about some other personal news for the show if we're lucky. Stuff bearing. We can't say anything off show about this, but we're hoping it's finalized by the time April 16th comes around between, noon to 4 Eastern. That's when or noon to 4 Central time is when you'll get to have to watch out for us on there. But we're looking forward to it. That's on the USFL podcast YouTube. Go and check out and remind yourself that you can be on that and that you can check it out. So please, April 16th, noon to 4 p.m. Eastern time. That'll be Spring Stock, a live streaming event that'll include us on there. I'll be on there most of the show because I'm a co-host. So you'll get to see me, and then I'll have Jim on there with me at some point. We'll get to talk plenty of arena and take over that live stream for a nice chunk of it.
Either live or remote, but I will be on Saturday.
One way or another. Yeah. I'll at least be in Birmingham at the very least.
Especially if there's big news for us to drop come that time. There will be news to drop. We just don't know when we can drop it or when we can say it, but we're looking forward to it. But next week we have again, I said next week's show's gonna be a little longer than usual. We have a huge guest potentially signed up for that, and there's a reason why. Once the news comes out, you'll know what's going on. So we're really looking forward to it. So been a long intro, but you know what, ladies and gentlemen, it's Inside the Walls. And for me and Zach, we were joined today by none other than Lonnie Outlaw, the wide receiver from the Orlando Predators and Columbus Lions, and also a big-time star on Inside the Lions documentary, which is airing on YouTube right now, episode 1 and 2 from the Columbus Lions. Here is our interview with Lonnie Outlaw.
Joining me and Jim today on the Inside the Walls podcast, we have special guest from the Orlando Predators. Wide receiver Lonnie Outlaw is joining us on here. You may also remember Lonnie as, of course, former Philadelphia Soul receiver with the Cleveland Gladiators. Last year, he's with the Columbus Lions. He's been everywhere in arena, and he is having a blast. Lonnie, how you doing, man? Thanks for joining the show today.
Hey, I'm doing great, man. I appreciate y'all having me today.
Glad to have you on here. We've been excited to have you on. Me and Jim. First off, I'm just gonna lead in. Many of us have seen some of your personality through Inside the Lines, and let's just say some of us got a new side of you that we didn't know if we haven't worked with you personally. So love getting that side. How just jump in. How do you describe last year for yourself with the Lions and being with that organization, Jason Gibson and that crew?
It was a great experience, man. Met a lot of great guys, right along with Jason, man. That was a great experience. But the experience was great, man. I loved the guys that I was around. Of course, the quarterback, the linebackers. I got my guy Kewan Alfred with me today right now.
Hey. All right.
Yeah, so I just, the fact that, we couldn't get a championship last year, coming into this year, we're looking to, try to repeat what we couldn't do last year, with the Orlando Predators. So with that being said, man, I'm glad for the experience. I'm glad for the opportunity with the Orlando Predators. Man, I'm ready to get it rocking.
Nice. Yeah, hi to Kewan in there again. John, and we'll put him in the description for sure.
I got him.
That's hilarious. Lonnie, so of course Jason Gibson, I think we know him as very much a, you fill your role, you do it well, you play tough here for yourself. We've gotten a lot of that. It seems like Jeff Higgins, when we've talked to him, how's your guys' experience been with Coach Higgins getting you the first run through coming into his season?
It's been a great experience, man. Coach Higgins, he's very enthusiastic. Got a lot of energy behind himself, So it complements what I like to do on the field. So he brings the energy, and I brings the energy. So that's gonna make the team flow a little bit better. With him being a player's coach. Him being around the player as much as he could, trying to learn more and more about the game. So, that was a plus for me, man. I like it. So, hey, I'm just trying to see how it's going to happen with this when it comes down to the Ironman football.
Oh, yeah. Jim, I know about you, but the Ironman football for me and you has been quite a conversation. I'm just going to ask this right here. Are you expecting yourself right now to be one of the specialists?
Yeah, I'm expected to be a specialist, but, could play a little defense here and there, I don't have a problem with doing it. You got to know the game. So, hey, I know the game a little bit. So, hey, I can get out there and, making a few plays here and there on defense.
Yeah, might follow the steps of your former teammate Darius Prince, get a little experimental, because it sounds like he's also interested too up there in Albany.
Oh yeah. He don't want to get in no middle though. We're gonna do some things to that boy, man. But we ain't gonna speak on that. We're gonna wait till the game comes. And we'll see if Darius Prince gets some of that middle. Oh yeah.
Oh my God.
A little trash talk on the podcast. I like it. 2 weeks out before the season.
I'm gonna be circling that one now. First match, I swear.
That's a great experience, I'm telling you.
Speaking of a former team in Columbus, Mason, we had him on the show multiple times, to say that you are the comic relief during practice. What is the deal with you just being so happy and a comedian type of player during practice, especially in Columbus? And now, did you bring that to Orlando? Are you still the same outlaw that was in Columbus that we see on Inside the Lines?
Oh yeah, most definitely. Same outlaw, just on a different team. It's just, I love the game, man. I've been cut plenty of times from different teams, NFL, CFL, AFL. I've been cut from a lot of different teams, so when I get the opportunity to play, they're going to know who Outlaw is, So with that being said, I'm going to show my real self and I'm going to enjoy myself while I'm out there. And that's the reason why I'm like that every day, all day. Even in the game, it may be a little bit serious here or there, but, I'm gonna make somebody laugh. I'm gonna make a joke here and there. I'm gonna make a joke about it because hey, I love the game, man, and that's the reason why I play still to this day.
So speaking with your Predators right now, your quarterback situation looks like you just signed a Connor Kagi who played for Jacksonville last year. You played against him last season, and King Cato. What's like working with especially young quarterbacks in the National Arena League? Trying to get their groove into the season.
It's a great experience because, you get to, manipulate the minds of a young quarterback to, you got to change your mindset of playing on the inside from playing on the outside because it's a bit different when you come back in the inside to play football. So with that being said, playing with younger guys, they still quarterbacks too, you know what I mean? So with that being said, they're going to do what they do, throw the ball. So with that being said, man, it's just, a little bit of critiquing here and there, knowing, where to throw the spots and everything, So that's the main thing. We get out there before practice and in the end of practice, we throw the spots and, I stand on the spot, I make them throw here, throw there, and, try to get them acclimated to making that throw in their sleep, So with that being said, that's how I try to get them to get. And, if they can, buy into that little small thing with me, we're going to be good, man. I'm going to beat to the spot. All you got to do is get it there.
Right. I mean, hey, a lot of times, you're talking about the deep shots. I know for yourself, you're much more of a lanky receiver. Got the at least the vertical type of circumference. That was weird wording of it. You got you know what I'm saying. You got the length on these guys. You got the size for it too. You have do you prefer going up and doing jump balls, or you always find you just want it right in that middle part with the diamond? What do you prefer with in terms of the arena and the passing situations?
Me personally, I like to do it all, but I like to go deep. But me personally, I like to dunk on people too. With that being said, in the red zone, I like to get in there, go over top of a few people's heads or whatnot. So, hey, that's how I try to play the game. But, with that being said, being in an arena football game, you got to be versatile. You got to be able to catch the ball, get in and out of breaks in a small area. So, with that being said, I can do it all. I can get in and out of breaks in a small area, go deep, go up top, whatever you need. I'm going to try to be the best at it. So, that's me.
I dig the dunk on people. You know what? I've asked this in previous interviews, but I'm curious because look, receivers, they in the arena scene, they're always the ones that are up on the walls. They get the fan interactions right on them. You have one that you have one that sticks out to you in your mind, or like at least maybe a situation or setting that you're like, yeah, this arena, this crowd, maybe I'm just like, dang, that one sticks with me. Just it's an arena moment.
I say like it was back when I was playing in the AFL. It was Orlando, no lie. Orlando. Okay. And Philadelphia was the most like best experience to like having a packed house where it's rocking every down. Third down, you got the crowd involved. You got the crowd looking at you like, what are you gonna do? You tall for no reason, giving you HELL. You feel what I'm saying? So with that being said, I try to get into that mode, because with that being said, that brings the best out of me. With that, with the crowd being behind me, I think I do better with the crowd being behind me. Not saying that, Columbus didn't have a good crowd, but I feel like Orlando gonna have a better atmosphere, where you can, get a little bit more involved with the crowd and in the games at the same time. So, I feel like that's gonna be a better experience with me being in Orlando.
Yeah, the Jungle last year, we've said it on this show, we were impressed that it seems to be getting momentum again. It looks like it. I was just saying, like, you're expressing how we're feeling. We think it's going to be like that again, another level up this year.
Yes, sir. And then bringing me to the city, that's bringing more fans, to the Orlando Preds zone. So, hey, all I can say is pray it up, baby. Pray it up. Yes, sir.
Don't fully tell that to Jim, though. He's the resident Sharks fan.
Hey. I understand. Jim, you're a Shark. I understand. But the Sharks got to come to the jungle, baby.
You got to come to the tank, so.
Hey. I think we'll survive out there in the tank, man. I think we'll be all right.
Have the game at 100% capacity for all these arenas. This is going to be cool. Like last year, it was just like, well, some games only had 1,000, but Jacksonville was at 8 because of the attendance. So it's exciting that now people can come to the games and you can experience full capacity. Because we've seen the NFL a couple years ago. No people in the stands. That was boring. No momentum in those games.
No,
and now,
no momentum.
Like day and night. So. And I love that you have that energy about Orlando, because Orlando is a historic organization in the arena game. They are the longest reigning organization. And,
most definitely.
I've been down to Orlando with some Shark trips, and I was also an Orlando Predator fan in the beginning, but it's pretty hot. When the jungle's rocking, it's pretty hostile. It's just like the Shark Tank. When that's rocking, it's pretty hostile as well.
Yes, sir.
So
you're right. Hey, you're not saying anything wrong there. I agree. When it's rocking, it's rocking. I ain't even gonna lie about that.
So what's your expectations to the 2022, especially the road trip that you guys will be taking to San Antonio here in week 1?
Week 1, man, I expect us to, go out and play as a team, try to gel and try to find out, who can play, who can do this, who can be great at that position, so who can switch out, who can be the two-way guy. So, it's going to be a lot of, commotion maybe. But I feel like, with Coach Higgins, he practiced hard. He got a great drive about, being great about, the opportunity that we got ahead. So with that being said, man, we're gonna be ready, man. We're gonna be ready because Higgins got us ready. So with that being said, I think the Preds gonna go in and do what we gotta do to get a W.
Man, it's gonna be fun, man. I'll tell you what, while we're here, like I'm curious, that San Antonio crowd, like they've looked like they come out. They definitely rep their organization well on social.
Yeah.
So I'm curious to see how that goes night 1. Freeman Coliseum is pretty nice and everything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's gonna be a great experience, man. With them being a new organization coming into the league, man, it's gonna be a great experience, So we should see how that first game goes, man. I'm expecting, a great game, most definitely.
Last year, you had I'm going to say an underrated season. I know you were second team all NAL, but I think at times people kind of forgot how good of a year you were having overall. What are some personal goals you have for yourself this season? maybe if you're looking to go to that next level, or if you're looking to at least elevate your game from a year prior?
Most definitely looking to, elevate my game to get to the next level. But personal goals in this league, I'm just trying to, get my team to a championship, and win the championship also. But personally, me, I don't like to set personal goals because I'm a team player. You know what I mean? Nice. So with that being said, if I get all NAL first team, second team, it's all love to me, long as I'm playing for a championship and winning it. You know what I mean? So with that being said, the accolades come with, how hard I played during that season. So that season gonna, explain what award I should have. So, I should have a great amount of awards this season. Put it like that.
I feel you. I'm going to take this moment to act like I'm getting an insider's report on Preds training camp. Any guys going to be doing the Ironman style that you yourself are like, man, I can't wait for this dog to come out here and just show people what it's all about when they do these streams and these games?
Yeah, I feel like, I got some guys on my team that could, be the Iron Man of the year. And like Prince say, he feel like he gonna be the Iron Man of the year. I could be the Iron Man of the year. But hey, it all plays on how you play all throughout the season. Last season doesn't mean anything if you're not, producing this season. So all in all, like I say, first game will, recap of how your season's gonna go. So we'll get back on it after the first game, and we'll talk more, and then we'll see how that season goes.
I like the way you think.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
We're all in the same thing together. We're all seeing how Iron Man plays out in his first year back, and God knows how long. In terms of that,
right.
Even yourself, you just missed the boat on Iron Man when you got in the AFL. So
I know.
Yeah, you're also getting to kind of go a little bit to the past again.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, most definitely. So we'll see how this season goes, man, because it's a lot of new rules, a lot of different things that, you can do and can't do with the OSs and, the DSs. So, we'll see who designates being the OS, DS, or two-way, So it's going to be a lot of experience for both sides of the field, most definitely.
All right.
Outlaw, before we let you go, tell the fans and people of Inside the Walls and people how to follow you on social media.
Man, you can follow me at IG, Outlaw _ for show, the number 4 SHO. You can follow me on Facebook. You can follow me Lonnie Outlaw. Most definitely everything is public. So, if you want to not follow me, that's fine. You can go check me out. That's fine. That's cool. But yeah, man, you go check me out. I go live here and there. I love having, fans and everybody involved. So, hey, man, let's have a great season this year.
Fantastic. Lonnie, thank you for joining us. Wishing you and, like I said, Kewan as well in there the best season as well. We'll be watching, of course, week 1 there when you guys go to San Antonio. Should be a blast.
Oh, yeah, most definitely. I appreciate it, man. Preds up.
Special thanks again to Lonnie Outlaw, receiver for the Orlando Predators, for joining us. And, Preds up. I'll add on that as well to that conversation. He's right. We've been excited to see what the Jungle is going to look like this year. A lot of potential there for this team and its fan base to keep growing. But there are some changes, Jim. We didn't really get into them. Well, we did a little bit. Let me specify. We did get into it a little bit. Let's kind of dive in, because one of these pieces, the young QBs, is an affected news portion for this week. Preds have a new starting quarterback. Am I right?
Not officially a new starting quarterback, but a quarterback that is going to be competing for the starting role.
Gotcha.
He does have some NAL experience. He played for the Jacksonville Sharks last season. That was quarterback Connor Kagi. He signed earlier this week for the Orlando Predators, and from what I can get from the people I've talked to, it's literally he's there to compete with Cato to be the starting quarterback. So that shores up Orlando's 1 and 2 quarterbacks. So you're going to have 2 younger quarterbacks in the arena game, is what Lonnie Outlaw was just discussing in our past interview, which I thank for Lonnie joining us. And such short notice, me being a douchebag and dumb. I'll explain later. But yeah, the quarterbacks, it's just, I think for Orlando, it's, yes, they're young quarterbacks. Connor does have experience with the Jacksonville Sharks, with the type of season they had last year. I don't know if you can really judge the experience to that, but we see a lot of rookie quarterbacks, and a lot of leagues have bad first years that turn out to be good quarterbacks year two. In the NFL, we've seen two of the most legendary quarterbacks of all time have bad first seasons and end up being Hall of Famers. And that's Peyton Manning and Tom Brady. For statistic-wise, Tom Brady was just lucky he was around a good team his first official year. But yeah, for Connor and for Cato, it's what from the vibe that we got from Outlaw. It seems like Orlando they're getting a little swag, and for a person who's from the outside looking in from the Jacksonville's perspective, Orlando has always been the rival of Jacksonville from the old AFL days. It's nice to see a team that's getting that swag back, because the NAL needs Orlando to a higher potential than it was in 2019. Don't want to talk about that team, but yeah, I think this could be a good quarterback battle in Orlando. And right now, I see either of them starting. They both are equal experience. Of me seeing Connor from the Jacksonville point of view, he has the skills, he has the talent. He was just too young last year. He was thrown into a wolf's den last year. Mm-hmm. And when it's with an organization that is Jacksonville, that expects to win no matter what season it is, it's very hard for a young and experienced guy to go into a organization and try to hold those same expectations for an organization. Pressure could have got to him, but he was tutored under Southwick for remaining last season. So he did get experience and get taught by a quarterback that's been in the AFL since God walked this earth, seems like. And again, in non-NAL news, Danny Southwick is back in the game again. We're not going to tell you what league he's associated with, but look up him. He is active. Yeah, I think he's playing this weekend. I think it is.
Actually, and it's funny because the United States Football League is overshadowing this weekend, really. So, Southwick is still in the arena scene, just not in the big traditional three.
That list is getting bigger for all the teams he's been with his career.
Right? Unreal.
Yeah.
Good for him. Just shouting out to him from previously being on the show. Kind of crazy to think about that. Mm-hmm. I'll tell you this with Connor, or Rakeem Cato, whoever starts for them, because one thing we learned, Hilliard is definitely not in the NAL anymore. Yeah. He has moved on. You can go and check that out and look him up. But he is out of the NAL at the moment. So Cato and Kagi are indeed your two QBs for the Predators. But again, we've talked on this. They have the receiving core out. We got, of course, Outlaw, Paris Mack, Larry Beavers, the support system for whoever starts. They got a good intangible list of people that they can rely on. I'm not too worried about the weapons. Question is, much like even Darren Clark, I got to add on that. Can't forget Darren Clark. He's been on the show. Shout out to him as well. So that's two Preds receivers we've had on at this point for this year. Just got to say that, it all depends on who can deliver the football the best.
Correct.
At that point. The Predators do have underrated weapons, I think, or haven't been talked about enough from us at times. It's just that, the QB situation now is even more of a fuzzy, like who's going to really start week one. So we'll find out. Kagi's been in the scene. It's just, can he have a better performance than being kind of shoved out really fast last year the way he did, and even then it's still now a tight window for him again.
Yeah. Connor Kagi was signed week 2 last year of the NAL season, and he was thrown in week 3. That's how quick it was. And for a guy who's getting introduced to a game, that's like, hello, what am I supposed to do? Receiver, throw, pick. Like, where did that guy come from? Because the arena game, it's like you got to have that fast of a reaction as a quarterback. And you look at the quarterbacks that are very successful in the arena game, back from the old AFL days of like Matt Bonner to Kurt Warner to Aaron Garcia to Nick Delavia to Dan Ronnie Ball. They were hike, 2 steps, back foot, ball gone. That's how you got to play in arena football. If you're hike 3-4 steps, you're sacked. And in arena football, most likely if you're not used to scrambling, if you have not going to make another shot. If you have if you have a Mason Espinosa's kind of speed, you're going to get sacked. But if you have, if you have a little skill, a little bit of a 99 speed rating, you might get out of the pocket in arena football. But 99% of the time in arena game, you have to have that ball out of your third back step or you're getting sacked. And that's what I think hurt Kagi, and that's what I think hurt a lot of young quarterbacks last year. We had one in Orlando last year that had right after Brian Hicks went down. I forgot the guy who joined, but he had similar issues. But the game was he couldn't slow down the game fast enough, if you want to say, and that hurts a lot of young quarterbacks. And when the EJ Hilliard news broke a couple weeks ago, Orlando, I don't think was panicking. I think they knew who they were going after because there were still they had a couple guys on roster, and because they still have a couple guys out there that are still free agents that could have made a return. But it's good that Orlando now has two guys that have experience in arena-style football. If it's limited, but it's not throwing a guy out there in the flame. Now that Karn is in camp for 2-3 weeks, he will learn the offense, same as Cato. And when we are week 1 next week against the Gunslingers in San Antonio, 1 week away or 10 days. Wherever you're listening to this, ladies and gentlemen, most likely we're within single digits of the game. But yeah, it's for the people of Orlando who are wondering if I should buy tickets to go to the game. I'm telling you this, once you go to a game, you're hooked instantly, especially how the announcers are in Orlando, how the traditional fan base is in Orlando. The jungle should be rocking, and it's not should. It must be rocking because the jungle in 2019 is a laughingstock of what the jungle is historically. And Orlando fans, get your tickets. They're on sale, very cheap, family 4. You can get in for $40 for just tickets. How can you not beat that? First home games in a couple weeks, but hey, it's that time. I'm going to be pretty much telling you right now, ladies and gentlemen, buy tickets no matter what. Go look at all 6 teams, buy tickets. If you live in Oregon, who cares? Buy tickets. You help support the league.
Right. If you get a chance to go out, that's the thing. I mean, that's these organizations are getting better and better. Like Orlando, again, we stressed in that interview, stressed again, they're making strides in the right direction. So, I'm looking forward, no matter what, even with this QB battle, I'm wanting to see how this goes. And remember last year too, like we had a QB situation that changed up just on the fly. That's just how the league can go for some teams. Kagi is able to step in. Cato has more minimal experience, but the upside from his play style is there possibly. So we'll have to find out and see. And remember, last year Brian Hicks was starting out the year, and then Patrick O'Brien had a solid season for the Predators and helped guide them to a playoff berth for the first time since they've been back in the arena scene. So anything can happen. And plus, remember too, the Predators, as of last year, and again, they built themselves a similar way. They have offensive weapons on the outside, but again, they brought back 2 of their most important components. Brandon Fuentes and Josh Jenkins are both anchoring those outside corners again. Trust me, those guys coming back was a massive boost to their chances of being successful once more. So I look forward to that side of the ball having just as much impact, if not more, for the Predators, much like they were last year.
Well, they also brought back one of the surprise guests that we had on the show today, Kewan Alfred. So not brought back, but the guy from Columbus.
Well, yeah, that's true too.
He's going to fill the void there for a Desmond Maxwell that unfortunately wasn't at camp. So we don't know the news about that. We just know that he didn't report to camp. So Kewan Alfred is going to most likely be the starting fullback / linebacker, whatever position it is. So Orlando does have weapons. And for me, as a person that's just looking from Jacksonville and from our insight to the league, that first week game went from last week very questionable to what's going on between San Antonio and Orlando week 1 to now going, okay, I think Orlando has gotten again that advantage over San Antonio. But here's the reason why. Right. We just got information sent to us sources. This is not confirmed by the NEL or confirmed by the San Antonio Gunslingers. We have sources that came to us earlier today saying that the David Olvera, one of the quarterbacks in San Antonio, has either been released or he stepped away from the team. Cannot confirm it. So we're not saying it happened. If that is true, they're down to one quarterback, and I think his name is London Novi or something like that. Um, I don't know what's going on in San Antonio. Just as us, we look at rosters. We look at the departure of Philip Barnett. Now David Vera, the loss of David Pindell not going there via trade, and Chris Ivory, another quarterback from them for San Antonio that was again with the NAL says they refused to report to camp. More question marks now rise in San Antonio to the level of experience for the Gunslingers total.
Yeah.
Yes, they have AAL and AFIL or the lower PFIL, whatever those other lower leagues are. But no NAL, no actual arena experience against arena caliber teams. So the questions for San Antonio still arise. Will another quarterback come in? We'll see the transaction wire when it's official by the National Arena League. But right now, if that source is correct, it's a big blow for San Antonio, especially a guy who was very experienced with that organization and their offense for the last 2 years. It's a big deal, especially with a Orlando organization that looks like they've gotten their act together and it looks like they're about to be very, you can say, a dark horse again, like the old AFL team was from last year, or last NAL team, excuse me, not AFL, NAL, from last year, how they came out of nowhere. Orlando could be doing that again this offseason. So a lot of questions, but right now the questions, I think, has to trend towards the San Antonio Gunslingers again. And that was just within 2-week time.
Yeah, London, no. I mean, that's the only QB on the roster unless Chris Jeffrey happens to indeed report. I don't know if that is the case. We haven't seen that transaction go across, if it even is official with Olvera not being there. But it does raise kind of an eyebrow because Olvera, at least with Olvera, you had someone that was with the team last year in the AAL. And I'm, again, referencing a league just because we have to here. It's in reference to that. But, he was with them in the AAL season last year. So I am kind of wanting to hopefully learn more about what went down there. Otherwise, we'll hopefully London No can get ready and, the span of he's already been on the transaction wire earlier than 10 days, but again, another QB with a bit short notice, haven't heard much on Chris Jeffrey. So for the time being, it's the London No show, which is, it's a weird way of putting it, but trust me, he is there. Don't take that into context for some reason.
You just got beat by a London No show. Who? Our quarterback. I'm like, oh, but London No
show.
Sounds
like a band that didn't come to Wimbledon.
Good point.
They were a no show. They didn't come here.
Yeah. But those storylines are going to develop over the next 10 days, especially when kickoff happens on the 23rd. Now, let's switch the storylines to the East Coast, somewhere all the teams are most likely. 90% of the league's teams on the East Coast. Coach Manas up in the Albany signs an extension to 2024. That basically tells us that the Albany Empire are here for another 3 seasons. So, which is good. He's a championship quarterback. He lived up to all of his bets that the ownership gave last year about they will host a home playoff game. They did. So I think Jeff Levesque, I think the ownership over in Albany, they believe in Manas, and that's a good sign for Albany, especially heading into the season.
Yeah, well, I like the nod, because they not only, of course, extended Tom Manas, but they also extended offensive coordinator Damon Ware as well. And here's the thing: we talk all the time. Arena is very much a community-oriented football, at least football variant. It is very much you want to have consistent people in your cities or towns that you can go to. I know something with the Albany Empire back in the AFL days. A lot of people liked Rob Keefe or Les Moss. So Manas, I think that's kind of the role. He's a head coach at Coast like Keefe was, but I think you're wanting to see him in the community just as much and being around for years to come. So, at least extend him for as long as he wants to coach, that is. So if he wants to come back and you're getting success, and he's the one we learned last year, he was the one that he gets to directly recruit these players and get to talk with them and bring them in on his own accord. So, if he's successfully doing that, and from our point of view, we still have the Empire as our top dogs in the league. They're doing a good job in terms of player rosters and what they have available for them. I don't disagree at all. I think it's definitely nice to get another year, and it's job security too. He can then start thinking about the year right away. You have less of a, okay, what are we doing now? Do we need to talk contracts? It's out of the way now. Now 2024, you can keep building yourself for another year plus with your contract already set up. It's a good community move. So happy for him, and of course for Coach Ware, both of them, glad to see him in there, and I'm hoping for them, more successful years, growing that brand back up to come, like we've been talking about.
Yeah, I think it's a good move for the organization that solidifies your front office for the next 3 years. And in the arena game, like you mentioned, it's a community-oriented sport, and knowing who the leader is of the organization will help bring the stability and the foundation to an organization, so the community knows who's going to be there. We see a lot in the indoor/arena game, coach turnover every single year, like a new coach is at helm. That over time does hurt organization, but some teams and some cities around the country get lucky and have a new coach each year, and they still sustain success. That's more of a operational above a coach dealing. But for Manas and Albany, I think it's a great move. The guy's already proved he can win. He has a ring.
Right.
First year as a coach, wins it all. So
got a diamond-studded one to prove it. Yeah.
And from outside of Albany, from what we've gotten out, besides craziness that's in Albany, winning championship, all the smack talk Lebec and guys are giving us, it looks like everything's pretty mellow besides that out of Albany, which is good. No news is what they say. No news is good news.
No news is good news,
So right now in Albany, the extension's good. They have a lot of they had the media day this past Sunday, which was a big event. They have a lot of promotion that's happening right now. Again, like I said, Legend, tickets are on sale now. Go contact them. You most likely will see a tweet here on this thing with their number. Call them. Pack the MVP arena. I almost said the old arena's name, and Lebec would have been pissed at me, because apparently he has something against the old company. I'm not going to get into that. But let's move to another part of the coast, especially East Coast, Carolina.
Yep.
Tickets on sale. Carolina's been rocking out a lot of social posts, have been very active. A lot of player transactions have been happening as well. We do know that Desmond Epps, who is a journeyman in the National Arena League, he has signed a contract with another league. It has not been officially confirmed in the NAL, but you can go to the other league's website. They will confirm the signing. Therefore, Desmond Epps will be listed as a suspended indefinitely from the National Arena League. 99.9999% sure that's going to happen within the next 24 hours on the website.
Most likely.
But people go, if you want to say what's going on in Carolina, most likely, from what I've looked at, 99% of their roster reported to camp. That's a good sign. They have two They have two good quarterbacks that play the arena game, and they have weapons. Right now, again, like in Albany, no news is good news out of Carolina. Only thing I'll just state again, buy your season tickets, buy tickets now for Carolina. They're healthy, they're practicing, and we have good connections with Coach. Most likely he'll contact us after this podcast and tell us if we're wrong or right. But still, thank you for the feedback, Coach. Now, but right now it looks like game plan is being implemented. Players reported. They look like they're having fun. I've seen a couple images on their website. They're doing night practices, which is very beneficial. You're not getting beat down by the sun, because in arena you're not getting beat down by the sun. So
exactly, yeah.
So it's going to be. I'm looking at Carolina, and like we stated before, nothing's changed my opinion about them this year. So far, I still think they're a top third team in the league, or they are the top third team in the league. Either third or second or first, whatever ranking you want to go at. But right now, that no news is good news. Besides the Desmond Epps, happens in the indoor game / arena game. Players go other places to play with other coaches. Happens. It's not a shock. He's not going to be the last, and he's definitely not going to be a person that does it from the other league to us. So yeah, it's an opportunity for him. So thanks. How can I praise it? Good luck in your future endeavors.
There you go.
And stay healthy, and see you back in 2023 if you want to come back to the National Arena League. But yeah, besides from that, let's go further down south to Columbus. In Columbus, I've heard absolutely nothing about Columbus. Just gonna say with it, some news. So that's good. We have a lot of connections out of Columbus. It's how we started the podcast today. A certain guy needs to stop taking cruises every couple of weeks. That's the only news. That's the only news out of Columbus, but much appreciated. One thing I noticed about Columbus is they still haven't signed a second quarterback yet, which is not a concern. It's just a question mark. It's just Mason. Mason is legit. I'm still saying right now, he's the best quarterback in the league. He's the best quarterback in indoor/arena game right now. Yeah, I'm shooting the fire. Come at me what you want. I'm still going to shut you up. He is the best.
I think I think that's a respectable
Yeah.
take that is leaning on, in my opinion, fact. But okay.
Yeah. There's a couple. They have the leg. They have the best kicker, the best quarterback, and they have a very underrated receiving core, in my opinion, that should get more praise than they do. And there's no news out of Columbus, and like I stated before, no news is good news if you want to say it.
Right. And I mean, the only thing I can really think of is they did post a few transactions, at least. They kind of put their blurb of refused reports on there, which really the only one that stuck out to me. I mean, I guess two of them, Cavante Pope and then Maurice Leggett. I was kind of surprised to see those names on there, but we'll find out where those situations are on the transaction. Like Sean Lockett, like he's currently playing in Massachusetts. So, I was kind of shocked that that's even there. I'm assuming that's out of essentially what was signed earlier, and then said person went elsewhere. So that's probably going to turn into a not refused report. I'm assuming a suspended, maybe. I don't know.
Actually, no. That would not be a league suspension, because Sean, from what I can take, Sean's had great communication with Columbus, and Columbus and them agreed to him because he is a teacher in Worcester.
Okay, so this is a verb. This is an agreement.
Exactly.
So this isn't like
This is an agreement between the Columbus Lions. I don't think it's associated with the NAL. The NAL could crack down on it and say it, but if they haven't said it now, saying league suspended, because he's been in Massachusetts since the beginning of the season, so they won't, cut it. Nope, they won't suspend him if they haven't done it now. This is just more of an agreement where if he decides when school's over to come back, there's still an option for him to come back to Columbus. But this is because, from what I can take and from what our connections with, the communication between the two is there. It's not like a lot of these other players. I don't know their stance, but a lot of these situations where players leave and go to another team, it's because they just cut off all communication with the team that they signed with and just pop up somewhere else. That happens a lot in the game. I don't think that's the situation here. From what I can take, the communications have been open the whole time, so I don't think the league's going to put that banner of suspension. If they haven't done it yet, they won't do it.
Well, in life after football, we're not talking. It's no secret. People know the salaries of the NAL. We're not talking NFL guys like this is full career. This is to help get a step for another step into possibly playing football again. Otherwise, like, people do have lives outside of the sport. We talked to Warren Smith just last week, who, like we said, he's got his own schooling he's got to do.
He's a teacher.
That takes center stage, and if he can do football and fit it in where he can, he'll take those weeks, or if they Sharks work it out. So that's fine. I'll admit I didn't understand that situation, so I'm glad you gave me that clarification on there, because I would have hated to have left this episode and just been like, oh yeah, he didn't show up. He's just in Massachusetts.
Yeah.
And then of course I'd be like, oh, I'd feel really bad about myself after this.
Yeah, and but from what I get, again, like, we're going to be corrected either by Manas, we're going to be corrected by Coach Rez, we might get corrected by the owners of the Columbus Lions after this podcast, if we're accurate or not. But most likely, from what I get, is because he's been very open with the situation. That's the reason why. Because he just went to another. Now, I think there's stages, but I think if you go play for another league without telling your current team that you're signing with that you're playing in another league, that's when you get the automatically suspended. And if you have the open communications of the reasons why you're going to that league, that might be a reason. So
I think that's pretty fair. I mean, we've heard from people that have said like, they don't try to suspend if they don't have to. Like, I know that.
Correct.
I know if you're an average Joe and you jump on here, and you see some of the ones that are just like blurbs on there, like you see with the refused reports, like when we talked to Orlando or like now Columbus, or you see like a blob of suspended indefinitely, you're probably like, oh, they're just trigger happy. Someone gets them upset, boom, suspension, they're out. They're not all trying to do that. That's not how a league should be run. Generally they try to reserve it for if it is, hey, why didn't you, like, why are you just ghosting, or why didn't you telling us these things? And of course, yes, inter arena indoor league competition is kind of there, but it's still, it isn't always that case. I guess like in that example, like you're talking right there, that's not like, that could have been it, but it wasn't. Obviously context plays into it sometimes. Yeah,
true. And in the evolution of this game, you're starting to see it more than you did years ago because of Twitter and social media. You'll find out what happens.
Oh yeah.
The reason why a certain news broke within minutes, hours, even a day or so. Like, we broke information on our Discord page about a receiver from San Antonio going to another league, and people came out like, "Who's your sources?" I'm like, look on Facebook. We didn't really break it because it was kind of at the same time.
Right. Sometimes, it just shows up there.
It happens, but with the situation with Lockett and Columbus, from what I can tell from who I've been talking to, it seems like it's a mutual agreement between the two. That's why they said just refuse to return, except for refuse to report type of situation. I don't know what the legal ramification is, but both the other leagues and the National Arena League, they do have a not legal sense, but technically if its contract is legal, if a player signs for, let's say, Team A or it's an NAL, then, I'm not going to get any playing time. I'm just signing with Team B in another league. You're still technically in your contract with Team A, therefore you get suspended. That's what I get. But from the other leagues, it seems like it's the same way. So time will tell. But for Lockett, he is a teacher in Worcester. And, of course, there's a team in Massachusetts. So I think it's just better for him financially. And he's there. So I wish him the best, as I'm not bashing the dude. He's playing the career. He's playing the game he loves, and apparently he's in the career that he loves, is teaching. Exactly. And there's nothing wrong about teaching. It's just a lot of work. But still. Now let's wrap up the news for the National Arena League this week, and it's from Jacksonville. The Jacksonville Sharks signed the old man, the 49-year-old kicker, Mike Hollis, the former Jacksonville Jaguar guy. We mentioned that he tried out last week, apparently. He tried out, showed the team that he can still kick field goals at the age of 49. So he signed with the Jacksonville Sharks. I don't know any of the contract information. Most likely, he's playing for league minimum. Maybe not at all, because he does have a NFL contract that he could be still living off of. But Mike Hollis is a NFL vet, played 7 years for the Jacksonville Jaguars. He was the first NFL kicker for Jacksonville Jaguars. Now he's with the Jacksonville Sharks 17 years later, at age of 49. And if he can kick the deuces, he's going to stay in Jacksonville. And people know in the National Arena League, you can kick the ball into the end zone. You don't have to squib it every single time. And deuces are key to in the National Arena League, as they can be potentially of a 4-point swing to a 5-point swing, depending on what happens. Field goal, deuce, whatever. Excuse me, my bad. I don't know how to count. Me stupid. Me stupid. Extra point, the deuce is 3 points. That could be a 3-point swing or a 5-point swing between a field goal and a deuce. Hey, there I go. Jim can count. Let's go, baby. Let's go. Not 4 and 5. What the heck was I talking about? But anyways, but yeah, Mike Hollis did sign with the Jacksonville Sharks. The Jacksonville Sharks, as what Warren Smith said last week on the show, is still a 2-quarterback system. They're still the only 2 quarterbacks in the room right now. I don't know any information, but I think if I know the Sharks organization, when Warren Smith does go back to Jersey to teach, most likely the Sharks will bring in a guy to be the backup role or emergency backup for Malik Henry, unless they do fly him to Jacksonville each and every Friday for a Saturday game. That could still be a chance, but most likely I see a third quarterback coming in. From all the photos I've been seeing, the videos I've been seeing, it looks like Coach Burley and the Jacksonville Sharks are having 90% of their roster play both ways. So they're getting everyone ready for the Ironman game.
That's good.
And we had Warren Smith even say last week that he won't mind playing. He sees Wilson playing both sides. He sees Naquan playing both sides. He sees everyone on the team playing both sides. And also, you had an interview with Devin Wilson months ago on the show, and he said he's willing to play both sides. He doesn't care. And Lonnie Outlaw just today was talking to smack to Darius Prince about he can shut him down. So it looks like the Ironman game, everyone's buying into it, and I would have thought of more of a mass exit, or in the case of some players that say floodgates, we're going to open and people do a max exit out of the league. It's not happening, which is, for me, really makes me feel like these coaches, these owners, and the commissioner have sold the Ironman brand back to the arena game where it's originally from, and the players are buying into it. Now, some of them are older than usual. Devin Wilson may not be playing both ways, maybe just offensive specialist, but having players have that experience on both sides of the ball, very beneficial for each team. So in Jacksonville, I'm just saying right now, I have no sources to this. Most likely, they're going to bring in a third quarterback to just fill the emergency role, unless Warren Smith comes back. But overall, from what I've been telling and listening and watching, no injuries to report league-wide that we know of. No big injuries and no massive issues that are happening in Jacksonville at this point. Seems like Jacksonville is they're on the verge of bringing back what the Sharks were back in 2019. And if that is the case, watch out. But right now, good news out of Jacksonville. Kicker Mike Hollis was just signed. And now the roster is full. And it just comes out to few releases to get under that 25-man active roster that I don't know when the deadline of that is. I guarantee it's sometime next week. I think most like for all the teams, I'm just sending a number to you, Zach. I think it's going to be this weekend. They got to get down to 25 because you got to have your roster ready. And you want to be practicing ones versus ones next week anyways before week one of the season.
Correct.
So
it's crucial right now that you're getting your guys at least conditioned. With Ironman, you have to have most of your roster ready to do two-way ball. Obviously, as we've talked, you think about it in a way kind of like NHL, kind of switching out the lines at some points. That's a strategy you can take in with teams. So there's that. But these guys got to be ready to play depending on when they're called up. So conditioning this year is more vital than ever for these teams, with Ironman being put into flux. Actually, there's a great piece in the Columbus area. I'm going to think of the TV station, but the local TV station in Columbus was interviewing about the upcoming Lions season. And a few of the players said the exact same thing. Training conditioning are more crucial than they have been in recent years. And I know at least Jason Gibson, and I especially imagine everyone around the league are following suit, that these guys will be their, at least hopefully their best physical trained versions of themselves than they have been in recent years come to start.
If you look at all the coaches around the league, Manas coached Ironman football.
Yep.
Gibson played Ironman football.
So did Higgins.
Higgins played Ironman football. I think Burley also played Ironman football back in the day. Coach Rez, I think, coached it. But the question, but Coach Rez has guys on staff that played Ironman football, so they have people that played it.
Correct.
The question is, Travis Shaw did play Ironman football because he played for the San Antonio Talons and he has years of experience in the old AFL game. The question is like what you just mentioned with the NHL lineups. The key for the upcoming season, I think we might not see it week one. It might take 2-3 weeks before you see how teams are adjusting. But the key is the coach who finds the formula of the Ironman rule, the team, most likely will be the team, in my opinion, that jumps ahead of the pack early before all the other teams find their groove and catch up. Maybe it's Albany, maybe it's Jacksonville, maybe it's Orlando, whoever. But the key to find that formula, the team that finds it first, I think is going to launch in the standings quickly at the beginning of the year, and teams will have to catch up. The one thing I love about the NAL, you can be the 6th place team all year and still be playoff eligible in the final week of the season because the top 4 make it in. So it's going to be whoever. Like, I know a lot of people go, man, they look at the standings of all the other leagues like baseball, NBA, NFL, whatever, and they go, man, I wonder if the top 8 make the playoffs. Let's try and get that 8th seed. In the NAL, I think basically you want to be – your goal is to be the top 2 because the top 2 you host at least one playoff game. You'd rather be home down the road. And the other 2 you consider are wild cards. It's 3rd and 4th seed. But the key is what coach finds that formula to be successful, and what coach can find that formula to get the early wins when teams are struggling to get early wins. Usually, sometimes you like to hit that fast start, but in the Ironman and especially in the NAL and football season, we see this at we actually see it in every single sport. A lot of teams, especially baseball, I just off air, I told this to Zach, like, it's early in the baseball season when the Arizona Diamondbacks, the Kansas City Royals, the Baltimore Orioles are laying their division. It's early in the season. Some years they stay, but majority of the time they're not there at the end of the year. The question is, the teams that start off fast, will they simmer off or will they be consistent? The team that finds that formula being consistent will be the team that stands above the rest come week 9, week 10, whatever, towards when we do the playoff push. And for right now, it's that itch. Who can find that formula early? We have tests. We're not going to be predicting like what if. We'll know answers next week. So in the Ironman game, it's just not about, we had the best first string offense. We had the first string defense. Do you have the best 25 people on the field to win games? Ironman football puts who has the best roster on the field. That's why when we do our power rankings, ladies and gentlemen, you guys get mad at us. Like, we're ranked too low. It's because we're not looking just at quarterback. We're looking at player 1, player 25. And that's how we do our rankings.
That's right.
So when people say Albany, why you got Albany number 1? They look at their roster. When we do our player power ranking, you'd be surprised at how many Albany guys we have in the top 20. They're loaded. So formula, who hits it first, who sustains that winning mentality, who's consistent. That would be the top 2 teams in the league. And we'll find out answers to that next week.
Right. Stuff's coming right around the corner here for the NAL. It's kind of crazy that we're getting to this point. I'm excited, thrilled to be getting to watch another season here.
Yeah.
Things are looking up. Look, we're not leaving this yet until you tell me your opinions on the Empire's new jerseys.
Empire's new jerseys. When I first saw them, they screamed Spokane Shark because of the design of the jerseys.
They do look like them sans the grid pattern.
Yes. And I'm not talking about the other league Spokane Shark. I'm talking about AFL Spokane Shark early jerseys. When like the 2010, 2012 version of them. But then you seen the outside view of them, then you saw the grid pattern, and you saw how you can noticeably it's an Empire jersey. I like it. It's very clean. If you watch back week 1 last season, the National Marine League, they kind of wore practice jerseys.
I think they were,
tops.
If I'm right.
They were practice jerseys? Oh, so this is a massive upgrade then from their first jerseys they wore last year. But again, last year was such a cluster. Fast pace to get the games. You need 3 weeks to put a team together and play? Holy crap. At least this year you had 6 months to put a team together before showtime. I like the jerseys. I think they screamed shock, but looking at them from the further picture, they got one thing. They got away. I know no one's mentioned this. I think people have, but I've never noticed. They got away from the Empire AFL jersey. They're not no longer the AFL Empire. They're an NAL Empire, so they're bringing their own identity. And I like the colors. They're very sleek. They're very crisp. It's what you need for an arena team. They're not crazy. Like you see some jerseys in other leagues, you're like, wow, you're wearing that. There's some that are like very mellow, but this one is clean. It's not too flamboyant. It's not too like, hey, we're here. It's like you look at their jersey, and you go, that's a football team. You know who they are, and they stand.
That's right.
And the colors are good. They're not bad. Now the question is will they be debuting another helmet?
You're talking another helmet?
Yeah, because usually have like Jacksonville has 5 helmets.
I don't know about that. I mean, they've been using, even if you go back to the AFL, it's been the dark
The same
blue
logo,
meets
yeah.
the orange. So
Yeah.
they're probably going to stick with that. Honestly, I mean, I'm with you. I felt this was necessary. Actually, before the announcement, I was kind of wondering if they were going to do it because they did get better ones like after week one. I'm almost 90% sure week ones they were practice tops, and I could be clarified wrong, but because of the rush, but like they did get in like official ones for just to get the season on. And they had the NAL logo off to the side. It wasn't centered, which more I think the league's trying to move towards having them much like official leagues, where it's right in the middle, right under your neck there. So they got that. They're clean, they look good. There's no reference to the old league on there, because the pants, as much as I love the AFL pants they had at the time, where it looks like like the Roman glad like warrior type of look, it did have the logo on it. So you are trying to establish yourself as your own brand, and they did it. So it's an obvious upgrade from what last year is, and it's something that I think you can say like, hey, that does look more like a professional organization, and that they can say, hey, we have more time. This is the year we've had a full year to back and get another second season. It's a glow up, if you want to use a more modern slang. It's a glow up for them. So good. It works. It works, and it works well.
Do we have any fan questions today or no?
I didn't see any today, but please submit your fan questions either via our Discord server or on your favorite social media platform. Just tag us or comment on one of our posts. Yeah. Leave a question down there about the league, or DM us. We will try and collaborate and kind of compile them, but nothing that we're aware of that we had to answer this week. But
yes. So listeners, fans, send your messages to us this week, because next week's show is a big show. We have a potential huge guest on the show. It's going to be almost 2 hours long. We're going to be breaking down week one. This is what's happening next week, ladies and gentlemen. We got top 20 player breakdown of who we think are the top 20 teams. Our season predictions, standings, who makes the playoffs, who wins everything. Who's our first team NAL? Who you think is the MVP? All that stuff next week. It's going to be huge. Also, questions that relate to the league, teams, anything, send them our way, because the guests that we're going to have on, potentially guests or guests who we have on, could answer those questions to you better than us. Just giving you guys a heads up. But besides that, next week is going to be a huge show. English. A huge show here for the Inside the Walls podcast, episode 30. And we're actually going to be here for the kickoff of the season, not starting our show midway through the year.
Yep.
But yes, next week's big. So send your questions in. Expect a big time show next week with a big special guest. By then, hopefully the announcement has been made, or we have a potential announcement that's going to be made. Hopefully it's already been done. But when that's all said and done, join us next week. Remember, buy your tickets. They're cheap. Go support your local team. I'll be, unfortunately, no, take that back. I'll be in the Shark Tank in 2 weeks. I forget, it's 2 weeks away to the first home game, not next week. And supporting the Sharks when the Albany Empire coming to Jacksonville. So most likely, if Levesque makes the travels, I will bash him. But if not, okay, I'll bash him from afar. Still 0-1 in the Shark Tank, by the way. But anyways, yeah, it's that time of year. Zach, it's talk trash, man.
Football and talking trash, the perfect combination.
Yeah. So it just remember, ladies and gentlemen, it's a next week, big time show, interview, predictions, everything next week. It's going to be next week's huge. I'm looking forward to get that show going. And also, no matter if it's on location or semi-remote, Saturday live stream here on Inside the Walls podcast or on the USFL podcast on Saturday, pumping up some action no matter what. Situations are changing. It's a very fluid situation that's going on for Saturday. So if it happens, we'll let you know. Follow our Twitter account here. Also, thanks to Lonnie Outlaw, Kewan Alfred that joined us as well. Didn't expect them. Still, thanks for the love. We showed you love, Orlando. This is your episode for love. Now share some love and like, subscribe, and share this episode here on YouTube. And if you're on podcast platform, why should I say subscribe to our podcast platform? You already listened to us, but if you're listening to it, watching us, subscribe to our podcast platform. Just click it. It's simple. That's it. I'm Jim Renier, and I am the host of the No, I was like, no, that's your job, not my job. But anyway, Zach. But yeah, that's how this week's been. Next week, huge show, a lot more stuff to talk about because we'll be talking about football games next week. Finally,
right.
The season is here. The 14-week marathon to the playoffs starts. The 16-week marathon to the NL Championship begins next week.
Sure thing. Coming up, got plenty of stuff we're going to be talking next week. Stay around for us. Thank you for listening in. Follow us on social at InWallsPod. Again, that's InWallsPod. And do everything else in terms of subscribing if you would like, if you enjoyed this show. But yeah, next week's going to be a big one. Follow our socials to keep posted with what we got. Saying so long here for my partner, Jim Renier. I am Zach Kyleman. Thank you again for tuning in. And of course, before we go, remember one thing.
Don't be a jack out of the box.
Stay tuned, everybody.
Covering all your favorite parts of the 50-yard fight. This is the Inside the Walls podcast with Zach Kyleman and Jim Bernier.